The human ship Unity 1 moved slowly through the stars. Inside, Commander Elias Kane stood near the main window. His eyes were fixed on the giant space ahead. He was not just a soldier. He was a diplomat, trained to solve problems between worlds. But today was different. Today he was flying into the middle of a silent war. In front of him, two powerful alien empires waited, the Valdari and the Zenthari. For years, these two had hated each other. Their people fought in the shadows. Their ships circled each other like hungry animals. And now, one wrong word could start a war that would burn entire planets. Elias had been sent as the only human voice to stop it. As Unity 1 entered the neutral zone, warning lights flashed across the control screens. Hundreds of alien ships appeared on both sides. One side glowed gold and silver, the Valdari fleet. The other side was dark, sharp, and organic, the Zenthari. Both were watching him. Both were waiting. "Commander, incoming messages," said the pilot. Elias nodded. "Put them through." 2. Messages played, one after the other. The first voice was smooth, elegant, and strong. "Greetings, noble human. I am Queen Saraxa of Valdari. I invite you to my palace. Let us speak of peace and beauty." The second voice was colder, softer, and deep. "Human diplomat. I am Queen Nixera of Zenthari. Come to me, let us speak of truth." Elias stood silent for a moment. He knew this was more than diplomacy. This was a test. The queen he chose first would feel honored. The other would feel insulted. It was a dangerous choice. He turned to his crew. "Set course for the Valdari Palace." The pilot nodded. "Yes, sir." As the ship moved toward the shining golden world of Valdar Prime, the Valdari ships moved aside. They allowed Elias to pass. Their formation was perfect. Their design was beautiful. Elias had never seen alien ships so detailed. It felt more like flying through an art gallery than a war zone. The ship landed gently on a golden platform. Bright lights, music, and soft winds welcomed Elias. He stepped out of the ship. A group of tall Valdari guards stood waiting. Behind them, Queen Saraxa walked forward. She wore golden armor that shined like a star. Her face was calm, her eyes deep and wise. Her voice was soft but powerful. "Welcome, Commander Elias. Humanity has sent its finest." Elias bowed slightly. "I hope to earn that honor, Your Majesty." Saraxa smiled. She led him into her palace. The walls were covered in silver and crystal. The air smelled like rare flowers. Every step he took echoed softly. It was beautiful, peaceful, and strange. In the great hall, Saraxa offered him a seat. Beside her, her hand rested gently on his arm. "Tell me, Elias, what does your heart want from this meeting?" Elias answered carefully. "I want peace between your people and the Zenthari. I want both empires to survive." She nodded. "And if I offer peace, will you stand beside me?" He looked at her. "I will stand beside whoever truly wants peace." For a moment, her smile faded. Then she laughed softly and poured him a drink. "Then let us see where this path leads." That night, Elias was shown to his private room. It was large and full of comfort, but he could not sleep. Something felt too perfect, too quiet. He stood near the window and looked at the stars. Then he noticed something on the table. A small piece of paper. Not a screen, not a hologram, but paper. Something old and strange. He picked it up. One line was written in bold letters. "She is not what she seems." Elias stared at the message. Who left this? What did it mean? Was it from the Zenthari? Was someone inside the Valdari Palace warning him? He folded the note and put it in his pocket. His mind was full of questions. His heart felt heavy. Tomorrow he would meet Queen Nixera. But tonight he was deep in the world of Saraxa. A queen full of grace and beauty. A queen who wanted something more than just peace. As he closed his eyes, Elias knew one thing. This was not just a mission. This was a trap woven with gold and promises, and he had just taken the first step into it. Asterisk, the sound of music filled the air, but it was not joyful. It was slow, smooth, and strange, like something played for a guest who was both welcome and watched. Commander Elias Kane walked through the crystal halls of the Valdari Palace. Gold lights moved across the walls. Servants passed without speaking. The place was beautiful, but something inside it felt. Planned. At the end of the hall, Queen Syraxa waited. She stood tall, wearing a long white cloak. Her golden crown glowed softly. Her smile was gentle, but her eyes were sharp. "Did you sleep well, Commander?" she asked. Elias nodded. "Yes, Your Majesty." She stepped closer. "You may call me Syraxa when we are alone." He paused for a second, then answered, "All right. Syraxa." She smiled again, this time more real. "Good, come with me. I have something to show you." They walked side by side through a garden made of light. Plants grew from silver soil. Some floated in the air. Others moved slightly when they passed, like they were alive. "This place was once used for royal weddings," Syraxa said softly. "Now it goes empty." Elias looked around. "Why show this to me?" She stopped walking. "Because I do not want empty things in my future." Her words hung in the air. Elias kept silent. She turned to him. "I know what you're thinking, that both empires want to win, that we see you as a tool. Maybe you're right. But I also see something else in you, something powerful." Elias stepped back slightly. "I came for peace, not for personal promises." She laughed lightly. "Peace is not a cold word, Elias. It lives in people. It lives in what we build together." Her voice dropped. "I have ruled for 200 years. I have seen 1,000 battles. But I have never met anyone like you." Elias looked away. His mind was moving fast. This was more than politics now. It was something personal. Or maybe it was just another game. That afternoon, Syraxa took him to the war room. It was round, with a floating map of star systems. Her commanders stood around it, each wearing heavy armor and cold expressions. Syraxa raised her hand. "He is not your enemy. He is our chance." The room fell silent. She looked at Elias. "Tell them what?" "You told me. About unity, about the cost of war." Elias nodded slowly. "Both sides will lose if this war starts, not just in numbers. You will lose trust, trade, future. War will not make you safer. It will make you weaker." One of the generals stepped forward. "And if the Zenthari attack first?" Elias replied, "Then let history show who wanted peace and who destroyed it." The general did not speak again. After the meeting, Syraxa walked with him back to the upper tower. "You speak like a leader," she said. Elias answered, "I speak like someone who is tired of seeing death." She stopped walking and turned to face him. "Then stay here. Help me rule. Be more than a voice. Be a part of something that can last forever." Elias looked into her eyes. She was not lying, at least not fully. There was truth in her words and something else behind them. A need, a hunger. Before he could respond, a servant entered the hall. "Forgive me, Your Majesty. A message has arrived from the Zenthari Queen." Syraxa's eyes narrowed. "Leave it. We will respond later." But Elias stepped forward. "I want to read it." Syraxa looked at him for a long moment, then gave a slight nod. The message glowed in front of them. To the human called Elias Kane, "We know where you are. We know what she tells you. But we also know what she hides. If you want truth, come to the hive, or stay there, and become her golden prisoner." The message ended. Syraxa's voice was calm. "She uses fear. She always has." Elias asked, "Is any of it true?" She turned to him, smiling softly. "You're free to go to her. But ask yourself this. Does she want peace, or does she want to poison your mind before you truly understand mine?" That night, Elias walked alone in the garden. He looked up at the stars. 2 queens. 2 empires. 2 futures. He reached into his pocket and touched the paper note he found the night before. The warning still haunted him. She is not what she seems. But which queen did it speak of? He closed his eyes. He was standing on a bridge made of gold and shadow, and the next step would take him into the dark. The stars changed color as Elias Kane's ship crossed into Xanthari space. Blue turned to deep green. White turned to black. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Behind him, the golden world of Queen Syraxa faded into memory. Ahead, the hive planet of Queen Nyxera waited like a living dream, or a nightmare. No metal, no glass. Only bone, root, and light that moved like water dot inside the ship. The crew grew quiet. Even the engines sounded softer, like they were afraid to speak. Elias stood alone near the main screen. He watched as giant structures came into view. They were not built, they had grown. The towers looked like insect shells. The bridges looked like vines holding planets together. Suddenly, a message appeared in green light. Welcome, human Elias. She has been waiting. No voice. No symbol, only the words. Elias gave the order. Begin landing sequence. The ship entered a large open chamber. The landing pad was soft, almost breathing. When the door opened, a strange scent filled the air, sweet, sharp, and wild. Xanthari guards approached. They had no faces, only smooth masks and long black armor made from hive skin. They did not speak. They only moved. One of them stepped forward and placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. Not to stop him, to guide him. Elias followed. They walked through dark tunnels lit by glowing blue veins in the walls. The air felt alive. The floor was warm. He could hear faint whispers, like distant voices in a forgotten language. Then the tunnel opened into a massive hall, and there she stood. Queen Nyxera. Her body was tall and thin, her skin dark like space, covered in glowing lines that moved with her breath. Her eyes were pure silver. Her voice entered his mind without sound. You came, human Elias. Elias kept his voice steady. I came to speak of peace. Nyxera stepped closer. Her presence felt cold and powerful. Peace is not found in gold and mirrors. It grows in the dark, in truth. He looked around. Where are your people? She raised her hand. The walls shifted, revealing thousands of eyes watching silently from behind living walls. We do not display. We observe, she said. Elias took a slow breath. Then observe this. I'm here to listen, but I will not be controlled. Nyxera smiled. You already walked into her game. Now you have stepped into mine, but I offer no games. Only what is real. She led him into another chamber. It looked like a cave, yet it was filled with soft green light. A strange flower opened in the center. Nyxera sat beside it. Sit, she said. Elias sat. She leaned forward. Syraxa offered you beauty, didn't she? Promises wrapped in golden words. She offered peace, Elias replied. Nyxera's silver eyes narrowed. She offered herself, not her people. That is not peace. That is control. Elias stayed quiet. Nyxera continued. You are not the first human we have studied. But you are the first she desires. She sees more than a diplomat. She sees a path to power. Then what do you see? Elias asked. Nyxera reached out, touched the flower, and it changed color. I see choice, and I see danger. Her voice dropped. Your DNA is unique, strong, adaptable. Our hive sees it, feels it. Syraxa wants your heart. I want something else, your future. Elias stood. This sounds less like peace and more like breeding plans. Nyxera did not move. Call it what you wish. Life grows in many ways. He turned away. I did not come here to be part of anyone's experiment. Then why are you still here? She asked. Elias stopped walking. Because, he said, I don't trust either of you. But I trust something worse will happen if I walk away. Nyxera. walked beside him. Good, you are not a toy, you are a key. And every key opens more than one door. Before he could respond, a buzzing sound echoed through the chamber. Nyxera's expression changed. She looked toward the wall. What is it? Elias asked. She turned to him. Someone has entered the hive without permission. From where? Elias asked. She answered with only one word. Valdar. Elias felt his heart jump. A Valdari ship had followed him, or worse. Saraxa had sent someone inside. Nyxera's voice entered his mind again. You see now, she does not trust you. And she does not trust me. This is not about peace anymore. This is about control. Elias stepped back. The walls began to shift again. The whispers grew louder. The hive was waking up, and the balance between two queens was falling apart. The explosion came without warning. It was not loud. It was silent, like space itself had cracked open. But the flash lit the hive world for miles. Red light burned through the walls of the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. The ground shook. Elias Kane dropped to one knee. Zenthari guards rushed into position. Their weapons hummed. The walls sealed around them like armor. Queen Nyxera did not flinch. Her voice entered his mind again. They are here. But not for me. Elias stood up, confused. Who attacked us? Nyxera looked at him. Not Valdari. Not Hive, someone else. Elias followed her into a narrow tunnel. Alarms pulsed in soft blue waves. The walls shifted open as they moved. Ahead, a Zenthari soldier knelt beside a damaged hatch. Something had burned straight through it. Elias leaned closer. No standard weapon does that, he said. NYXO nodded slowly. Because this enemy is not from here. They entered a control chamber. On the screen, Elias saw movement outside the hive. A small craft had crashed into the surface. It did not match Valdari or Zenthari designs. Its surface was black and broken, but pieces of human metal shined underneath. Elias stared at the screen. That's Earth tech, but it's not one of ours. Nyxera's voice was cold. You are not the only human visitor in this part of space. The door behind them opened. A guard entered, holding a helmet burned and cracked. He handed it to Elias. Inside the helmet, written in red letters, was one message. We see your lies. We end your games. Elias's hands tightened around the helmet. His voice turned sharp. This isn't an attack. It's a warning. Nyxera stood silent. Elias looked at her. Do you know who sent this? She answered, I know what they call themselves. The Third Path. A rebel force. Not loyal to me. Not loyal to Saraxa. They want both empires to fall. And they want humans out of the stars. Elias stepped back. So while we play politics, they prepare war. Nyxera's eyes narrowed. You are the reason they act now. They fear what peace could bring. The ground shook again. A second explosion hit deeper inside the hive. Smoke filled the hallway. Guards ran past them. Screams echoed through the walls. Elias moved toward the exit, but Nyxera stopped him. You cannot go alone. The hive will collapse. In parts, stay close. She pressed a glowing mark on the wall. A passage opened below their feet. They dropped into darkness. It was quiet below. The air was colder, the space tighter. Elias looked around. Where are we? Nyxera answered. This is the Underhive. A place only my kind has walked. They moved through narrow roots and deep tunnels. The floor was wet. The walls pulsed. Slowly, like a living heart. Strange lights flickered overhead. Then they entered a small room filled with glowing cocoons. Inside one of them was a human. Elias rushed forward. He wiped the surface of the cocoon. The man inside looked barely alive. But he wore a human uniform. On the chest was the same symbol Elias wore, the Earth diplomatic seal. Elias turned to Nyxera. Who is this? She replied. A man sent before you. Saraxa told your leaders he was lost in battle. She lied. He was taken by the third path. We recovered him, but he never woke up. Elias stared at the man. How long has he been here? 3 years, she said. Elias felt a deep chill. They had lied to him. The mission was not just about peace. It was built on broken truth, and now people were dying for it. He turned toward Nyxera. If this is true, then Syraxa knew everything. She knew about the rebels. She knew about this man. And she said nothing. Nyxera nodded. She offered you power, but she feeds you silence. Elias looked down at the cocoon. He made a decision. I need to leave. I need to speak to Syraxa, face to face, no guards, no games. Nyxera placed a hand on his shoulder. If you go now, she may not let you leave again. Elias met her eyes. Then I won't ask for permission. The room darkened again. Far above them, the war was changing. And Elias Kane had become something new. Not a guest, not a prize, but the center of a storm. No one could stop. The guards were gone. The lights were dim. The palace of Valdar Prime, once filled with music and mirrors, now stood silent like a breath held too long. Commander Elias Kane stepped into the royal garden alone. His ship had landed without warning. He sent no message. He asked for no permission, and yet the gates had opened. Waiting at the center of the garden was Queen Syraxa. She wore no crown, no gold, no armor, only a long black robe that moved with the wind. Her face looked older than before. Not in years, in truth. You came back, she said. Elias walked closer, but not too close. Because I have questions, he replied. Syraxa nodded. And I have answers. He crossed his arms. Then tell me why you lied. She didn't ask what he meant. She didn't pretend. Her voice was soft. About the lost diplomat? Elias's eyes narrowed. You knew he was alive. You knew the Zenthari had him, and you told Earth he died. She sat down beside the silver pond. I told Earth what they were ready to hear. A dead diplomat brings mourning. A missing one brings questions, and questions turn into enemies. Elias stood still. You played with lives, he said. Syraxa looked up at him. So have you. Every time you made peace between two angry worlds, you chose which side deserved mercy. That is what power does. He didn't answer. She reached out and touched the water. I never wanted this war, not truly. I wanted something bigger than war. A future. A legacy. A path that did not end with fire. Elias stepped forward. Then, why turn this into a game? Why charm me, offer promises, and twist the truth? She looked at him with tired eyes. Because I'm in love with you. The words hit him harder than any weapon. He didn't move. I've ruled for centuries, she continued. I've seen kings rise and fall. I've seen stars go dark. But when I looked into your eyes, I saw something I thought I had lost. Hope, Elias whispered. Hope doesn't come with lies. She stood. Her voice broke for the first time. Then tell me how to live without them. Tell me how to rule a dying empire without silence and strength. The Zenthari hide in shadows. The rebels burn from below. I am all that holds this together. She stepped closer. You think Nyxera told you everything? She didn't. Her hive feeds on fear. You think she saved that man? Maybe she used him first. Maybe she still is. Elias shook his head. I don't trust her, but I don't trust you either. She reached for his hand, but he pulled away. I never asked you to trust me, she said. I asked you to see me, not as a queen. As a woman who has lost everything but still wakes up and tries. He turned away, but then she said something he wasn't ready for. Run away with me. He froze. What? Leave all of it. The hive, the earth, the treaties. The war. Come with me to the outer systems. We'll disappear. We'll live where no empire can find us. Elias looked at her face. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't acting. She was asking for real. I can't, he said. Too many people are watching. Too many lives depend on this. Her voice turned to fire. Then those people will tear you apart. You think Earth sent you here to help? No, they sent you to take control, to pick a queen, to choose who they can use. Elias turned. That's not true. You're not a diplomat anymore, she said. You're a prize. Silence filled the garden. She stepped back. The guards finally appeared at the edge of the trees. Her crown returned. The queen was back, but the woman who cried love was gone. I will prepare for the final meeting, she said. He nodded once. So will I. As he walked away, he looked back only once. Saraxa was staring into the pond again. And her reflection didn't smile. Asterisk. The sky above the neutral zone turned red, not from fire, not from war, from memory. Elias Kane stood inside a massive crystal dome floating between two worlds. Below him, Valdar Prime glowed in gold. On the other side, the hive shimmered in dark blue. Above, stars blinked as if they were watching. This was no battlefield. This was the trial. It had not been planned by him. It was not part of any treaty. It was a ritual written long before humans reached the stars. Two queens, one decision, not made by war, or vote or power, but by emotion. By truth. Nyxera stood to his left. She wore no armor. Her skin moved with silent energy. Her eyes showed nothing. Saraxa stood to his right. Her golden robe was gone. She stood in silver, like a leader with nothing left to hide. Between them, a glowing ring floated in the air. This is the memory circle, said the ancient judge who stood in shadow. You will both enter. You will share what cannot be hidden. He will see what you have lived. He will feel what you have felt. Elias stepped back. You mean I'll be inside their minds? He asked. The judge nodded. Their minds, their hearts, and their lies. All will be open. Saraxa and Nyxera said. Nothing. The judge raised his hand. The ring exploded in light. Elias felt his body lift into the air. Then everything vanished. He opened his eyes and saw a child crying, not a human child. A young Valdari girl. She stood in a broken hall. Her parents lay on the floor, cold and still. Fire burned in the distance. Saraxa knelt beside the girl. The girl was her. Her voice cracked. They said peace was coming, but peace never came. The memory shifted. Now Saraxa stood in front of a dead army. Her people cheered, but she turned away. In her hand was a ring. A ring she would never wear. They wanted a queen, her voice said. So I became one. And I never stopped. The memory faded. Elias gasped for breath. Then he fell again, this time into darkness. He landed in a cave made of bone. Screams echoed around him. A Xanthari child crawled through ash. Her skin was burned. Her mind wide open. Nyxera stood above her, holding a small light. The light was not for healing. It was for recording. This pain, she said, must never be forgotten. The scene changed. Now Nyxera stood in a chamber filled with voices. Hundreds of minds connected to her own. She could feel everything. Hunger, fear, anger, and one emotion she could not control, loneliness. Her voice whispered, "The hive shares all things, except love. That is mine alone." The pain hit Elias like a wave. He fell to his knees. His heart pounded. His hands shook. Then he was back in the dome. The light faded. The judge spoke. "You have seen what they chose to show. What your mind could survive." Saraxa looked at him. "I never wanted your pity, only your trust." Nyxera said, "I never asked for your love, only your mind." The judge turned to Elias. "Now you must choose. Who will hold your alliance? Who will walk beside Earth?" The room went silent. Elias looked at Ser Axadat. She had been shaped by war, but inside her was a woman who once believed in something more. He looked at Nyxera. She had been born in shadow, but inside her was a voice still searching for light. Then, he looked down and saw his own hands shaking, because this choice was not just between two queens. It was a test of what kind of future he believed in. He stepped forward and raised both hands. I choose neither. Gasps filled the dome. The judge frowned. That is not part of the ritual. Elias replied. Then change the ritual. He faced the queens. You asked for my heart, but peace doesn't need my heart. It needs honesty. It needs risk. And it needs you to stop fighting over a symbol. He turned to the judge. Let Earth be neutral. Let both empires face each other without trying to steal me first. Let peace come from truth, not from seduction. The dome pulsed once, then twice. Then it turned clear. The trial was over. No queen had won, but something greater had begun. The galaxy held its breath. On the edge of neutral space, in the wide-open silence between stars, a single ship floated above a glowing platform. No weapons, no guards, no armies. Only one man. Commander Elias Kane stood before a gathering unlike any seen before. Two great empires faced each other across the void. Valdari ships lined up in perfect golden rows. Zenthari hives pulsed in the shadows like quiet thunder. Each queen watched from her flagship. Queen Syraxa, radiant in gold, stood behind a glass wall of light. Queen Nyxera, wrapped in shadow and silence, hovered above a living platform of bone and root. They waited for his voice. No words had been shared since the trial, but now the galaxy demanded an answer. Elias stepped forward. His voice was clear. Not loud, not angry, just true. When I first arrived, I believed peace was a matter of words. That if I listened carefully, asked the right questions, and stayed balanced, I could help stop a war. He looked from one side to the other. I was wrong. He held up his hand. Not to silence the crowd, but to show something. It was a small piece of fabric, burnt, torn, human. The first diplomat came here before me. He disappeared. You both knew. You both used his silence as a weapon. He turned toward the Valdari fleet. Queen Syraxa offered me a future. She wrapped it in beauty and strength, but behind her smile was fear. Fear of losing control, fear of not being chosen. He turned toward the hive. Queen Nyxera gave me truth, but only parts of it. She opened my mind, but not my path. She spoke of connection, but kept me outside the core. Both queens stood motionless. Elias raised his voice slightly. You called me a prize, a key, a path to power. But I am not here to be chosen. I am not here to belong to anyone. He stepped back. I am here to remind you of what you've forgotten. Peace is not a reward. It's not a strategy. It's a sacrifice. It means giving up the idea of winning. He paused. Earth will not side with Valdar. Earth will not enter the hive. We will stand apart. Until you both choose peace without needing someone to carry it for you. A ripple moved across the crowd. Some Valdari commanders lowered their heads. Some Zenthari soldiers blinked their eyes in slow, strange patterns. Elias turned away from the crowd and looked at the stars. They say love can stop a war, but love is not real when it's mixed with power. It's real when it lets go. He stepped back into his ship. The doors closed behind him. No applause, no music, only silence. Inside the ship, he sat in the pilot's seat. He looked down at a small message from Earth waiting on his screen. Return immediately. Debrief required. Status uncertain. He closed the message. Set the course and launched. As the stars shifted around him, he did not feel like a hero. He felt tired, but he also felt free. Back outside, the two queens watched his ship disappear into the distance. Neither spoke. Not yet, but something had changed. Not because he chose one of them, because, for the first time, someone chose neither. And in that silence, peace had room to begin.